In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get sad again.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method, and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. The law requires car accident victims to assert claims promptly. You could lose out by simply waiting. Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain. Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
The following letters were written by our troops.
My dear fellow Americans, I truly appreciate your support. I was starting to wonder if people had forgotten about us over here, but then one of my buddies showed me this website, and now as tears are streaming down my face, I can see for sure that you haven't. Private Emily B., U.S. Army.
It's so heartwarming to see the American people not letting the men and women of the armed forces be forgotten. Your letters make a group of grown men, battle-hardened and gruff, act like a bunch of kids around a Christmas tree. Thanks. Staff Sergeant Matthew H., U.S. Army.
Your support may be the most important thing our troops can carry with them. But don't take our word for it. Take theirs. To show your support, visit americasupportsyou.mil. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Defense and the Ad Council.
Millions of Americans every day are shedding unwanted pounds by taking tested and proven Ultra-Lipo Stick. Carbohydrates are bad. Our carbo-fighting antioxidant is good. Just listen to these satisfied customers.
My name is Gail, and I lost like 20 pounds on Ultra-Lipo Stick.
My name is Jared, and I lost 46 pounds using Ultra-Lipo Stick.
My name is Zach, and I actually gained weight. This stuff sucks!
Ultra-Lipo Stick is safe and easy to inject. Just 3 doses 4 times a day discreetly underneath your fingernail. Listen to this.
I used Ultra-Lipo Stick and suffered from side effects like uncontrollable greasy discharge.
Ultra-Lipo Stick, it turned the armpits of all of my shirts orange. This stuff is crap.
Try it today and see some real results. Ultra-Lipo Stick. Not available in stores. Results may vary.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
most politically incorrect black man on the planet, Rod Eccles.
Well, hello, my fellow Americans. It is I, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live from an undisclosed location this evening. Not in the Bunkerized home studio, an undisclosed location. Somewhere within these United States of America. Well, you know, it's not in New Hampshire, so their state motto here is not live free or die, but it's still live free or die back in my home state of New Hampshire. I did check again today just to make sure. It is Monday, July the 20th in the year of our Lord 2015 as we begin a brand new week here on the Rod Eccles Show. You know, I had an interesting weekend and an interesting day today. I got to tell you, I was doing some yard work today and my arm is killing me. Holding up a gas, weed whacker trimmer, those things are not exactly light, but it seems like I dislocated my elbow or something. So I'm in a little bit of height, as it were. I've been, doing the good old icy hot rub all around the elbow and stuff, and it doesn't seem to be doing anything. I don't like taking drugs, so I'm not going to be taking any Advil or ibuprofen or anything like that unless I absolutely have to. So if you hear me grimace a little bit, it is because I'm trying to move the arm, and it is a little bit sore at the moment, and I'm sure it'll heal up in a couple of days and be just fine. But we had a very interesting weekend. At least I did. And this weekend, I got to. I know, folks. There's all the stuff out there about Donald Trump, and I do believe there was somebody trying. A couple of people. You guys are beating me to the punch here. Look, they were trying to call the program before the show even got started. I don't answer the calls before the show starts because there's too much that I have to do, and I can't entertain people. So if you're out there calling, and you do want to call back in, now is the time to do so. The number is toll-free, still 603-835-3224, 603-835-3224. Look, I know that there's a lot of people want to talk about and hear what I have to say about the Cuba thing, and Cuba is opening their embassy here, first time in 50 plus years. We're opening there in Cuba, first time in 50 plus years. There's a Donald Trump flap still. I got some interesting takes on the Donald Trump flap for you today, plus a bunch of other stuff. So, the paper pile is piled high today. So hang in there, and we will try to get through as much as we possibly can today. As usual, I'm pretty sure we're not going to get through everything because we never do. But we'll try to get through and bust through as much as possible. Over the weekend, I was in Keene, New Hampshire, on Sunday at the Cheshire County Republicans event, picnic they had. And it was an interesting event. There were a couple of, more than a couple, but there were a bunch of people there representing some of the candidates. And it was kind of interesting to see all the different, a number of different candidates represented there. And how these people are early on. Very early on, they've picked their person that they wanted, that they would like to see, they're fully behind. I think there was a Carly Fiorina aide there, and I'm just going to say aide because they work for the campaign. They might be a campaign lead or a campaign chair for New Hampshire or the county or what have you. So I'm just going to say aide, campaign aide, because they were all different. They had different roles or different titles, what have you. But there was a Carly Fiorina aide there. There was of course, a Ted Cruz and a Rand Paul aides were there. I think there was a Chris Christie aide was there. There was no Trump. Although there was somebody in the audience who was quite adamant that that they were going to support Trump. They liked them, but they weren't part of his campaign. And there were a few others. I just cannot remember Dr. Carson had an aide there. In fact, he was actually giving out prizes that had Dr. Carson's name on it, like a book, a couple of books. In all, these people. The age, they talk for about 5 minutes each about their candidate, what they believe their candidate stood for, and why that particular candidate was probably the best possible choice for the GOP. I don't think there was anybody that was there. I think there was somebody there for Scott Walker. In any case, I'm going to say 16 candidates were not represented, but I was corrected because I did mention in my speech that I gave, I was there to give a speech. In my speech, I said that there were about 16 GOP candidates, but I was corrected and told that there were 18 candidates. Now, you might think, well, geez, who in the audience would really nitpick and care about that? Well, it wasn't actually somebody in the audience, because this person actually corrected me in his speech right after mine. And who he was a candidate for president himself, Mark Everson. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are probably saying, Mark, who? Yeah, Mark Everson is running for president on the GOP ticket. And he was there in person even. And, he gave his probably 20, 30-minute spiel. Being honest, it seemed longer. You're probably going to pick up right away that I'm not a Mark Everson fan. And because, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know he was actually running, because, there are all kinds of people running on the GOP ticket. Even all you really care about is the top 10 or so. But that's beside the point. I should have known who he was. And then after doing a little bit of, listening to his speech and then doing a little bit of information diving on the gentleman, I got to tell you, I have a problem with him. Now, I know he worked. He's worked in a couple of different administrations. He worked in the Reagan administration. He worked in the Bush administration, but I wasn't all that impressed. And frankly, when he got to the point he discussed taxation, and he got to the point in saying that he would be for a consumption tax. And then I think the top 10 or top 16 or 6% of the income earners would also pay a small income tax. Now, I got to tell you, this guy actually helped run the IRS for a time. That turned me off right there, because I don't care if he was in the Reagan administration. Here's a guy that we're talking about keeping the IRS around when most Americans want to get rid of the IRS, or at least drastically curtail the IRS's power. And you don't do that by having a drastic, across-the-board consumption tax. I'm not buying it. Not to mention that if you keep the IRS around, that means you're not repealing the income tax law. You're not repealing the income tax amendment. So just as what happened back when the income tax was first started, you're going to have the wonderful, wealthy that are going to get slammed. And then they're going to see that their rate starts to go back up. And then we're going to see it creep down to the middle class, to the lower class, just like it is today. And so we'll be stuck with an income tax in about 20 years, an income tax and a consumption tax, or sales tax, if you will, on everything. Now, I'm not buying it. So I got to tell you, I wasn't very happy with his position on that. On how to finance and fund the government. But, this is the kind of stuff that we need to hear from all of these candidates before we start making a decision about who we're really going to back and who we're going to, we might start giving our money to. Now, I haven't donated a dime to anyone yet, simply because I don't know who I'm going to back. When I tell people this, they're like, yeah, right, you got a favorite. No, I'm serious, and I'm honest and serious about it. I do not endorse anybody at this point because I have not decided. Now, sure, I may talk about Donald Trump, and we'll be talking more about the Donald in a bit. I may talk about Donald Trump, and then, I may talk about other candidates as well in a positive note. But it doesn't mean that I am endorsing them or supporting them in any manner. In fact, I made it quite clear in my speech yesterday at the event, at the picnic, that right now there is really only one candidate that I definitely do not want to see get the nomination. But make no mistake about it, if he did get the nod, I would support him over a Hillary Clinton or a Joe Biden or anybody else on the Democratic side any day of the week. And that person, of course, is Jeb Bush. No, I don't want to see Jeb Bush get the nod. I'm not interested in making history and living through. Do you realize that if Jeb Bush was to become president, it would be the first time in history that brothers were presidents, served as presidents. Now, we've had fathers and sons, and this is modern history too. There's going way back, John Quincy Adams and John Adams, father, son, John Adams and John Quincy Adams, father, son. But they were separated by a few presidents, but they were pretty close. And then you get Bush and Bush separated by, there were other related, there have been other presidents who've had a relative who was also president. But then we get to the Bushes, separated by one non-relative president. So we had George Herbert Walker Bush, although he only served one term. But then we had 2 terms of William Jefferson Clinton, and then George Herbert Walker's oldest son became president, George W. Bush, and now we've had one president since George W. Bush. He's had 2 terms. And now comes his brother, Jeb Bush. Well, it would make history on a couple of different levels. One, brothers. I think it's the first time that brothers have actually been elected to the high office. 2, it's the first time any living president has had 2 relatives be in office while he's still alive. And I expect George H.W. Bush to be alive in 2016. Also, it's the first time that a president has had 2 sons become president. So there's a lot of there would be a lot of firsts, a lot of historical first, if you will, if Jeb Bush were to win the 2016 contest. And I'm not against Jeb Bush because I don't want to see that. And I'm not going to be for Jeb Bush because I want to be a part of some sort of history. After all, we were part of some sort of history making when we elected Obama, right? Well, I didn't vote for him, but when we as a nation elected Obama, we're part of history. This is an historic moment. Yeah, historically devastating. But, if you want to know more about Mark Everson, just go over to rodeccles.net and, there'll be information over there. You can go over to link over to his website. You might find that, that he's somebody for you that you can support after reading through all his stuff. I can't say I would support him among the field of 18. But we will. But if he were to get the nod, yes, I would support him. But other than that, at this particular juncture, I don't see him as being my candidate. But he might be your candidate, and that's fine. We all have different likes. Was it different strokes for different folks? I'm not talking about the old TV program. What you talking about, Willis? Wasn't that different strokes? Yeah, I think that was different. Yeah. Gary, that was Gary Coleman, right? Did he pass away? Sometimes I don't remember what these people, these old. I know there are a lot of young, old stars. Well, they were child stars. A lot of them didn't get too far into adulthood before they passed away for a number of different reasons. But what was the other? There was another diminutive star back in that time, Emmanuel, right? Whatever happened to him? He used to be Michael Jackson's sidekick. He looked like a puppet, actually, sitting next to my I don't know what happened because he's such a tiny kid. I don't, he's like Gary Coleman. I guess there was some medical issues with him. He never really grew. Whatever happened to him? I don't know. I haven't heard nor seen him from Webster. That was his TV show. Yeah, I'm sure everybody remembers Webster. But how did we get off on that? Different strokes for different folks. That's how we got onto that. Sometimes I'm easily distracted, but there's so much going on, folks, that you might want to distract yourself. You really might. And one of the things that I notice that's starting to get some notice and being talked about is the embassies being opened by Cuba and the United States in our respective nations. And we have a bunch of people, at least in the United States, who don't particularly like that notion. And, today they went through a special ceremony raising the Cuban flag at the Cuban embassy here in the United States of America over in D.C. I don't understand the rush, the need and the rush to all of a sudden bring Cuba back into the fold of the world, as it were. We were the only nation left, really, the only significant nation left, really, that had any type of economic or political embargoes on Cuba. So it's not as... But with that said, notice that Cuba kept falling further and further behind into economic despair. Now, look, just because, we're normalizing relations with Cuba, it doesn't mean that it's going to drag them out of the 19th century, economically speaking. There's not much for, the United States to invest in, not that we really want to because of the type of regime that is there. Can you imagine companies wanting to spend all kinds of money in Cuba, investing in Cuba, only to have the Cuban government take it over, kind of like Venezuela. Remember that when, you had all the American oil and other international oil firms investing a ton of money down there, building oil refineries and drilling rigs and that type of thing. And that infrastructure around drilling oil in Venezuela. And then all of a sudden to have Hugo Chavez just nationalize it and take it from them. Well, companies are not in business to have their assets stolen by another government because they can't make money and stay in business that way. And if they can't make money and stay in business, then that means they can't keep a bunch of people employed. And I'm not just talking about, senior management. The guys that are earning 437 times more than the person on the oil rig, which is a bunch of bunk, by the way. That sort of thing, leftists always try to put that out there, but that's been debunked in numerous times. It's not true. It's a misnomer. It doesn't take into a lot of things into consideration. Hey, remember the wealthiest person on the planet right now, as counted by and ranked by Forbes 400, is what's his name? Carlos something from Mexico. He's a Mexican from Mexico that lives in Mexico City. He's reportedly the wealthiest. Now you got to are you telling me that there isn't any opportunity in Mexico? Well, there's got to be some for this guy in order to make it to the top. There's got to be some opportunity down there. But there isn't any opportunity right now in Cuba. And, maybe they'll end up getting some. But at this particular juncture, you have to, not that I'm against nationalizing or opening up relations with Cuba. Let's face it, it'd be kind of nice to have be able to get a real Cuban cigar right here in the United States legally. And people are saying, is that all you care about is a damn cigar, Ron? You just want to be able to smoke a cigar? Well, hey, that's a cash crop for Cubans. If I could buy a Cuban cigar, I'd be helping their economy. I'd be helping a Cuban earn money to feed him and his family, to put a roof over their head, maybe to buy a car that it wasn't made in the 1950s. Just saying, I'm just trying to help. There's nothing wrong with, I get something out of it. They get something. The Cubans get something out of it. It's a win-win. What's wrong with that? It's a win-win situation. But other than that, there's nothing. There's sugarcane, I guess. There's the rum trade, but we got enough rum runners, legal rum runners, right here in the United States. Do we need to add Cuban rum? We got a bunch of Cubans here making rum, but the Bacardi family, I believe, is also Cuban. There was wasn't there a TV show with Jimmy Smits, I think, was it, about sugar and sugar cane and making rum and that? I don't know. There's I bring up pop culture because it has a lot to do with reality, actually. So you have that. Our reality oftentimes is reflected in our pop culture, which really doesn't bode well for us, because that means pop culture, Kim Kardashian is more important than the 16 or 18 candidates that are running for president. More important than people knowing who their governor is, who the vice president of the United States is. I'm surprised that so many people do not know it's Joe Biden, don't know his name. That's kind of scary. Yet they're going to go into a voting booth in November of 2016 and try to vote for a president. Somebody that they probably never even heard of. Just somebody told them, hey, you need to vote for this guy because, he's really good. He's really nice. He might even be cute, or might be her, because she's a woman. That's a terrible way to go. That's America for you.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. Call InventHelp today.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-352-1609. That's 1-800-352-1609.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. While you're fighting and speaking up for you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. Woo! There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
The Rod Eccles Show.
Toll free 603-835-3224 is the number to call should you wish to join me here live. Join your lovable host, El Rod, here on The Rod Eccles Show as I broadcast live somewhere out there in the hinterlands. Know how you say it, hinterlands? Or is it hinterlands? Hinterlands. I don't know. I don't speak German or Dutch or whatever that comes in. Social Security. You know, I had a little bit of an argument with people about Social Security. Folks, let me tell you something about Social Security. Social Security is an entitlement. And I get people telling me, it is not an entitlement, Rod. I paid into it. It's my money. Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but you've been lied to. And here's the reason why. Why is it that Obamacare supposedly passed muster in the Supreme Court of the United States? Well, simply because Obamacare is a tax. Nothing else. It's a tax because the government constitutionally can't do anything, can't force you to buy anything. They can't do anything to you. They can't take your money and give you health care like this because it's unconstitutional. So it had to be a tax. Now, with that said, the precedent was set for this being a tax back with FDR and Social Security. Now, of course, they tried to say, well, this is a retirement program and people can put their money in so they can get their own money out. But in order for it to pass constitutional muster, FDR also had to argue that Social Security is nothing more than a tax. Now, therefore, if it is a tax by law, you do not get to keep that money. It all goes into a general fund, or a fund therefore directed by the Congress. Now, you can say that there was a lockbox or a trust fund, but again, actually, it's a tax. So it has to, if they wanted or needed money from the so-called Social Security lockbox or trust fund, because it's a tax, that's how they can take it and add it to the general fund. Because the general fund is what? Made up of what? Taxes. So people say, well, they're borrowing from... No, they're not really borrowing from the Social Security fund, because you don't own the funds in there. I know everybody, I used to get these statements too annually, or every other year, telling me how much money that I have accrued. I haven't accrued a dime in Social Security, neither have you. In fact, there are a lot of people that have taken out way more than they have ever put in. Some people have never put in a dime, and they're taking out on Social Security, taking money out of it. So, again, the only way that you can do that, because if it was as they promised and said, well, it's a retirement fund for those who pay into the system. Well, the only way that somebody who did not pay into the system could actually reap the benefits of said program is if this were a tax and Social Security were an entitlement. That's all it is, folks. It's an entitlement. I hate to burst your bubble, but that's what it is. Simply speaking, based on the law and the Constitution, Social Security is an entitlement. Therefore, if it is an entitlement, you're actually not really, truly entitled to it unless you meet government standards or criteria. I know that probably confuses some people, but that's the way it is. And so with that, they can decide, well, hey, if they want to say, well, you have to pee in a cup for a drug test in order before you can qualify for Social Security benefits, and that's what you have to do. There's a big push to have people be drug tested before they can get certain kinds of welfare or food stamp benefits, right? If the government wanted to do that for Social Security recipients, they could do so. Now, that would be kind of stupid, considering that a good slight majority of those receiving Social Security benefits are senior citizens, and they would many of them would probably fail a drug test, because many senior citizens are on multiple different kinds of drugs. Legal drugs, that is. They've been prescriptions in order to keep them alive and keep them healthy and keep them sane. So some of them would believe it or not, they'd probably fail. But that's beside the point. So they could decide that, in order to save money on Social Security, that you would have to have a drug test or some other form of testing means before you could get Social Security benefits. Now, how can they do that? Because you don't actually own the money that they say that you have accrued and own. You don't, because it's a tax, and this is an entitlement. Which is why when Obama says, you know what, maybe, I don't need Congress to get some sort of fundamental gun control. So he's out there talking about, well, he's not really talking about, he's trying to put into place or, slide into place. If some 4 million or 4 to 5 million current recipients of Social Security benefits might have to give up their guns or their ability to get a gun. They might have to, they would have to get, under Obama's proposal, 4 to 5 million Americans receiving Social Security would have to give up their right to bear arms. Whether they have a gun or not would be irrelevant to the Obama administration. They're saying if you have a gun, you got to turn it in. If you don't have a gun, you can't get one. Plain and simple. But again, how can they do that? Because this is not something that you earned. This is not something that you paid into, because if it was something that you paid into, well, it's yours. You're going to get it no matter what. Your insurance company just can't, or your mutual fund company or your 401k company just can't come to you and say, well, you know what? We're not going to disperse your 401k benefits when you become of age to receive them unless you take a piss test. Well, no, they can't do that. It's your money. They can't keep your money from you. So how can the government do it? Because it's not your money. That's how they can do it. Now, if they do this for Social Security, what means that, how are they going to? How would you possibly believe that they wouldn't be able to do it somewhere else? Instead of getting a drug test in order to get some, get SNAP or other welfare benefits, you just got to give up your gun rights. I know some people are out there saying, well, if you can't afford to feed your own kid, you shouldn't own a gun. But that's beside the point. The point is that you'd have to give up your right in order to get government services. What else could Obama circumvent Congress and the Constitution on in order to take your gun rights or any other right? Think about it. If he can get away with doing this, think about what he could do. Well, you know what? If you are, a fundamental Christian, well, we're not going to give you certain tax-free benefits of a church if you don't marry gay people. Same-sex marriages, if you don't have those ceremonies. Look, if they can do that with guns and Social Security, why can't they do that with a church or Christians? You got Christians being sued because they're not baking cakes or serving pizza, catering a pizza for a wedding or something, in different parts of the country. So don't think that couldn't happen. Very well could happen. So basically, Obama is proposing the largest gun grab in American history. And this is actually a story that's from the NRA ILA, Institute for Legislative Action. The NRA Institute for Legislative Action.org. As it was told in an LA Times story, the Social Security Administration, SSA, is currently developing a program to strip Second Amendment rights of over 4 million Americans currently receiving Social Security Administration benefits through a representative payee. Not only would this amount to the largest gun grab in American history, but according to the published report, would take place without any due process protections for recipients, amounting to nullification of Second Amendment rights for millions of Americans who don't pose a threat to themselves or anyone else. Hey, you don't need that gun. You're too old to have a gun. No, you're dependent on me anyway. We'll keep you safe. You don't need that. Turn that gun in. You want to eat or you want that gun? That's what I thought. Turn in the gun. Now, this new program appears to have been instigated by the Social Security Administration in response to a memorandum issued by Obama in January of 2013, which directed all federal agency executives to improve the availability of records to the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, or the NICS. Now, this memorandum required all agency heads to submit to the Department of Justice a plan for sharing all relevant federal records for submission to NICS. Now, eventually, Obama's SSA bureaucrats read all relevant federal records to mean all Social Security recipients who have a representative payee assigned to their accounts to help them manage their payments and receipts. Obviously, many individuals swept up in the egregious case of bureaucratic overreach would not otherwise be prohibited from owning, possessing, or acquiring firearms under federal law. So their only crime is being old. Now, isn't there a war on senior citizens, old people? Are you sure that, you lefties, that it's the right, the Republicans, the conservatives that are waging war on old people? I mean, I know you're saying that the right is waging war on women and children, but are you sure that we're actually waging war on old people? And if we're not the ones that are waging war on old people, might it be also true that we're not waging war on anybody else? But the warmongers are actually you on the left. I know, isn't that kind of sneaky? Yes, isn't that kind of, well, how can that be? They can't be, no, they can't be the ones that are doing all the harmful stuff to Americans. It's the right, because the mainstream media told me so. Well, here's the issue with that. The truth hurts sometimes, and the truth is the truth, and the truth is, it's the left that's doing the damage, not the right. Now, I'm not saying that the right is perfect. Let's face it. Republicans are not perfect. Far from it, especially the blue bloods inside the inner circle. Leadership, rhinos, no, they're definitely not perfect. Wish we had perfect leaders. You know who we need to be? Well, maybe that's Donald Trump, but you know who we need to be president? We need Leonidas. From 300, Sparta, ancient Sparta. This is Sparta. Well, we need somebody to scream that. This is America. And kick all our enemies down that deep, dark, endless well. We need Leonidas. I'd vote for him. If somebody could clone him or bring him back to life, I'd do it. I am damn sure he'd be conservative, because he was all about the law. He didn't go to war because of the law. The law says, you have to honor the gods of Carnion. They couldn't go to war with. Well, he didn't go to war. He just found a way around it. Yeah, but legally. But it was good. He didn't do it for vanity. He didn't do it, so he could enrich himself. He sacrificed himself so that his beloved people could be saved. Now, that's the kind of president that we're supposed to have. That's the kind of president that we need. Somebody who is going to go to the mat to defend this country and its citizens. Plain and simple. We need a Leonidas. Maybe that's Donald Trump. I don't know. He seems I can, well, maybe not now because Donald's a little bit older, but I could see Donald doing the kicking the enemy down the well in his younger days. I could definitely see him doing that. But I could also see him not saying this is America, but him, shouting, "I am Trump." But would anybody on the right now, even Jeb, well, I might be stepping in it if I say include Jeb and a couple of others, but yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Would anybody on the right really take away grandma's gun because she's getting Social Security benefits? Hey, grandma's a dead shot. She's a good shot. She's been shooting practice shooting all her life. She's got good aim still. She still has a good eye. She doesn't waver or shake or anything. But, she might have her gun rights taken away from her from Obama. Do you see anybody on the right who would do that to Grandma? Grandma wants to keep her gun. She's got all her faculties about her. Do you see anybody on the right who would do that? I don't see anybody on the right who's going to take Grandma's gun away, who's going to take Grandma's rights away. I don't see anybody on the right who's going to diss Grandma in any. Well, we're told that we're the ones that are, waging war on all kinds of people. But I got to tell you, I don't see anybody on the right who would do that right now, who would be so into taking Grandma's right to bear arms away, or Grandpa's. Now, let's face it, these folks are old. They can't run away and run and hide. They got to stand their ground simply because they can't move very fast. They can't run. Oh, isn't that part of the non-castle doctrine? Run away, run and hide. Well, you're 70, 80 years old. You can't do a 40-yard dash in 4 seconds now, right? But it is highly likely that your burglar or attacker or home invader is, fairly young. And he's a lot more limber and he's quicker than you are. So you getting away, your chances of getting away are 0 to none. So you're going to need to stand there and either take a beating, which would probably kill you, or shoot the SOB. Well, I would pick shooting the SOB. Because you need to protect yourself. And that goes for anybody. It doesn't really matter your age. But and with that said, just remember, this would be anybody, not just senior citizens. Anybody receiving Social Security benefits, if you hit this criteria set forth by the Social Security Administration and Obama, you would have to give up your rights to bear arms, or you would lose your Social Security benefits. Do you get it now? It doesn't matter how old you are. You could be, I don't know, maybe you're a teenager. And for whatever reason, you've been made eligible to receive Social Security benefits. But, you like, your dad taught you to hunt. You like to hunt. You like to, sportsman, target shoot, that kind of thing. Maybe you're a skeet shooter, clay pigeon shooter. Well, now you can't, because government says, well, you're getting a check and somebody else is controlling, at least partially controlling your funds and how you disperse them. So, you're not all with it. So, you can't have a gun. Turn it in or lose your benefits. Well, that's what Obama's saying now. And if you think this is going to stop here, you got another thing coming. He's not stopping at this. Look, we got another year and a half, folks. So you better fasten your seatbelts and hold on, because this radical socialist communist Muslim is going to unplug and just, the tub and just drain everything out of this country. He really is. That is exactly what he's trying to do right now. He's trying to unplug the tub, take the plug out, and just drain this country of every last little bit of freedom possible. And you lefties put him there. You voted for him. You tried to shame the American people, and a little, it worked a little bit, into voting for this guy. And so now he's been voted on twice, elected twice to the highest political office in the land. And now people are saying, oh my goodness, what did we do? Well, we told you what you did and what you were going to do before you even did it. Those of us on the right told you this is not a good guy, and you better not elect him because you're going to be sorry. And sure enough, the people are now starting to say, well, maybe we made a mistake. Duh, you think? You made a huge mistake. So it's going to be moving forward. And unless somebody, I don't know any president who's going to. Can you imagine, in order to turn all this stuff back, the newly elected president is probably going to spend like his first full term trying to figure out exactly what this idiot of a current president actually did to try to undo it all. He's not going to be able to do anything with his own agenda. All he's going to have and be bringing forth is a bunch of stuff that he's got to fix that was left over by Obama. Plain and simple. Well, that's the way it's going to be. And that's the same thing. It's going to take some work to turn it around. It's not going to happen overnight. It is not. I know some people are going to be so disappointed that everything isn't reversed and we're on the right track, on the right road within the first 90 days of the new presidency. And I'm telling you, that's not going to happen. It's not going to, it's going to take some time. I don't care who the president is. It could be Scott Walker. It could be Ted Cruz. It could be Rand Paul. It doesn't matter who it is. It's going to take some time to unravel all of this. Unfortunately. And we won't be able to do it quickly. Again, unfortunately. We won't be able to do it quickly. Hey, new science contradicts climate alarmists. Predictions of a global warming doom have been doomed by new science. Can you say that? Like in Lord of the Rings. Doom. Mount Doom. Weather Doom. So this new science, this is a CNSnews.com story. For years, we've had naysayers and skeptics and realists and optimists, regardless of how you phrase it, constantly downplayed concerns that humans are causing catastrophic global warming. And I've told you all along that we're not. And so now we have some new science that's saying, well, maybe we're not. Look, we're losing all the ice caps. Really? Have you taken a look at a recent NASA satellite footage over the winter? All that white stuff at the top of the globe and bottom of the globe. Yeah, well, that's snow and ice. Those are ice caps. They're kind of covering, the Great Lakes too. We almost had a total freeze out of the Great Lakes, which hasn't happened in like a century or something. I don't know. No. We have global. And today we learned that there hasn't been any significant warming for now going on 21 years. 21 years and counting of no temperature increases. I don't know how you can have the Earth cooling off or staying steady in temperature, but still have warming going on. We got a lot of warming going on out there. We'll be back and cover this some more.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. The law requires car accident victims to assert claims promptly. You could lose out by simply waiting. Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. Woo! There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
The following letters were written by our troops.
My dear fellow Americans, I truly appreciate your support. I was starting to wonder if people had forgotten about us over here, but then one of my buddies showed me this website, and now as tears are streaming down my face, I can see for sure that you haven't. Private Emily B., U.S. Army.
It's so heartwarming to see the American people not letting the men and women of the armed forces be forgotten. Your letters make a group of grown men, battle-hardened and gruff, act like a bunch of kids around a Christmas tree. Thanks. Staff Sergeant Matthew H., U.S. Army.
Your support may be the most important thing our troops can carry with them. But don't take our word for it. Take theirs. To show your support, visit americasupportsyou.mil. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Defense and the Ad Council.
Millions of Americans every day are shedding unwanted pounds by taking tested and proven ultra-lipostick. Carbohydrates are bad. Our carbo-fighting antioxidant is good. Just listen to these satisfied customers.
My name is Gail, and I lost like 20 pounds on Ultra Lipo Stick.
My name is Jared, and I lost 46 pounds using Ultra Lipo Stick.
My name is Zach, and I actually gained weight. This stuff sucks!
Ultra Lipo Stick is safe and easy to inject. Just 3 doses 4 times a day discreetly underneath your fingernail. Listen to this.
I used Ultra Lipo Stick and suffered from side effects like uncontrollable greasy discharge.
Ultra Lipostick, it turned the armpits of all of my shirts orange. This stuff is crap.
Try it today and see some real results. Ultra Lipostick. Not available in stores. Results may vary.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Most politically incorrect black man on the planet, Rod Eccles.
This just coming across my news feed. House Democrat, this is from pjmedia.com, House Democrat Nancy Pelosi, the wonderful, super intelligent representative from California who happens to be a Democrat, proposes lowering the voting age to 16 or 17 years of age. Now, she goes on to say, to achieve what we want to do for the middle class, for kids in school, for immigration reform, for all those things, we must change our politics. We must reduce the role of money in politics. We must dare to do that. And so we have a dare disclose, where is this money come from? This dark money. Amend the Constitution to overturn Citizens United. Let's get out there and mobilize and do it. Reform our campaign system to empower small donors and empower voters with a renewed and strengthened Voting Rights Act, removing obstacles of participation, Pelosi said at a Make the Progress Summit sponsored by the Center for American Progress. So in order to do that, let's just let the 16 and 17-year-olds who know absolutely nothing about the world, let alone their own country, outside of, Taylor Swift and Kim Kardashian. Right, Taylor Swift, right? Yeah, she's the she. Right, she's a singer, because the other Taylor, weren't Taylor and Taylor dating at one point? There were two Taylors, right? And the other Taylor, he was a guy, he was a boy, obviously, right? Well, not obviously anymore. It could be two girls, whatever. But wasn't the other Taylor he was in that vampire thing? Vampire. I like to think that I try to keep on top of, the sparkly vampires. Was he no, he wasn't. He was a wolf. Werewolf. Right? Yeah, he wasn't a sparkly vampire. Twilight, that's it. He was in the movie, what? Oh, come on, Rod, you know the kid's name. Lautner, Taylor Lautner, and right. Taylor Swift is the singer, and Taylor Lautner. Now, see, if I were 16, I would have known this I wouldn't have had any trouble figuring that one out. But yeah, Taylor, his name is Lautner, right? Yeah, Taylor Lautner and Taylor, they're not dating anymore. But they did. I don't know. Did she write she seems to write Taylor Swift seems to write a song about all her exes. I think she only goes out with people just so she can write a nasty song about them. That's going to be a hit. But anyway, I digress. So the only reason that, the only thing that these kids, 16 and 17-year-olds know is, most of them can't even drive yet. How are they going to get themselves to the polls? But the only thing that they know about the world is Taylor Swift and Kim Kardashian. And, what team are they on in the sparkly vampire Twilight movie? I don't. Well, good evening, my fellow Americans. Yes, it is I, your lovable host, Elrod, coming to you live from somewhere out here in the hinterlands of the good old USA. I am not in my wonderful state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. I am live out here at an undisclosed location this Monday, July the 20th, in the year of our Lord 2015. The number is still the same, though, that you can reach me toll free at 603-835-3224. That's 603-835-3224. And I will be back in the Bunkerized home studio for tomorrow's show, so make sure you tune in. Got a couple of things going on tomorrow. They're going to be different, new. Going to talk about something new. Got an announcement or two. So you're going to want to be here for that tomorrow when I broadcast live from the Bunkerized home studio, and I have all of my studio equipment in front of me so I can properly do things. By the way, did you know that if you had a Windows XP computer machine, that back in April, Microsoft stopped supporting it? Now, not supporting it means, I guess, that they're not going to make any more updates and security patches or what have you to it. So, XP, probably the most stable version of Windows in the new millennium, and they're not going to support it now. They're trying to get everybody pushed over to the new Windows 10 that's coming out, I guess, soon. I don't know. I don't particularly like it because it's well, we'll have to see what it's we'll have to see what it's like. I haven't seen it. I'm not a technophile. I should probably learn more about coding and all this kind of stuff because everything is now encoded and computerized, and you got software and apps up the wazoo, and you really should know this stuff. But yeah, whatever. So it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't, and it probably isn't what it probably should be. But anyway, what were we talking before we were so rudely interrupted by a profit center break? Oh yes, science, global warming, doom. We're going to be doomed with global warming. Man-made global warming doom. You know what I like? I like Godzilla movies. And I like the good old chop suey kung fu movies. And you know why I like them? Because they're more realistic than all this garbage about man-made global warming. That's why I like them. You know, they're not fantasy compared to global warming. I mean, they're historical. They're historical documents. The historical documents of Godzilla continually rampaging Japan and Tokyo, and all of those wonderful fighters back in the day of emperors in China fighting each other and killing each other, using kung fu, lightning quick reflexes and all that kind of stuff. So fast that they have to slow down the action so you could see the punch and see the telegraphed punch and kick and all that kind of stuff. I love those things. I admit it. I have always loved I call them chop suey kung fu movies. Yeah, I know that they're dubbed, but and you can tell they're just terribly. Well, it's because the Chinese language, whether it be Mandarin or Cantonese, whatever it is, whatever dialect you're using, has absolutely nothing in common with the English language. So it is going to be noticeably off when you're doing a translation like that, when you're doing dubbing. Now, if you do something else, if you do Dutch or like French or Italian or something, there is occasionally some similarities in everything, so it's not so noticeable or as bad. But with these Chinese kung fu movies and even Japanese movies with Godzilla, there's nothing in common between our languages. So it is, when you try to dub it, it is going to be wickedly noticeable. That's part of the fun with the kung fu movie. Seriously, that's part of the fun. Especially when you hear the voices and when you actually hear the actors' real voices versus the dub voices, they're not the same at all, and it can be hilarious. But especially when you see when Jackie Chan in some of his earlier movies, when he was being dubbed versus his real voice, again, sounded nothing like the real Jackie Chan. But those things are fun. It's the same with Godzilla. What do they call them? Kaiji movies. A big one here, before the recent Godzilla movie, was Pacific Rim. They call it a kaiji or kaiju a movie. And those things, they're fantasy, they're fantastical, they're very entertaining. But at the same time, this stuff with global warming, if they weren't trying to be real, if this stuff were in the realm of Godzilla or the chop suey kung fu movies or any other type of movie, maybe fantasy and adventure type of thing, we might find this stuff funny and entertaining. The problem is that these people are trying to be serious as a heart attack about foisting this fakery upon us. So you have all this stuff in the kung fu movies are fake. Half the time you can even tell that the fights are fake. I mean, they're that bad. But we all know that this global warming crap, that it's man-made, we also know that that's fake. But nobody's having fun with it. It doesn't matter. I mean, I constantly hear, well, we have all these scientists, all scientists agree with man-made global warming. No, not even close. Where do you people get off saying, all real scientists? Really? So, a chemistry teacher, which knows nothing about the atmosphere or climate or weather, that's a real scientist, yeah. But how do they have an expertise in determining whether or not man is the cause of global warming, if there is global warming? Which there isn't, by the way. 21 years without any significant increase in the Earth's temperature. Now, I don't know. Maybe this is like the movie The Core, and they're getting the Earth's core temperature. Maybe the Earth is heating up from the inside out. It's getting a fever, I guess, from down in its core. I don't know. But they keep telling me that the Earth is warming up. It's getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and deserts are growing all over the place. And you look at all of these recent pictures from NASA. I'm talking 2015 AD. Not 2015 BC, but 2015 AD pictures from NASA out in space and from other space agencies around the world. And I see deserts actually shrinking. Many deserts shrinking. I see ice caps growing. I see, the Great Lakes in the winter almost totally frozen over. And yet we're constantly being bombarded that, polar bears are drowning. Polar bears are super Olympic long distance swimmers. They like that crap. Now, I don't know why, but polar bears, they just like to get out there. They like to get out there and swim. I think it's because they're tracking. Polar bears have been known to track and hunt man over a great distance. And polar bears happen to like to hunt seal, and they'll track them. And where do seals go? The seals get around by doing what? Swimming in the water. So how do you track seals? Well, sometimes you got to swim after them. And that's what polar bears do. And if there's ice caps, frozen ice, and they go from iceberg to iceberg to iceberg, they ice hop. And if there's no ice to let them hop, then they jump in the water and they swim. This is their natural habitat. It's what they've tracked these things. They know what polar bears do. This is no different. So, and their population numbers are up. They're not down. Well, polar bears are disappearing in Alaska. Well, not really, no. Maybe their numbers are not really growing like you think they probably should in Alaska, but let me tell you something. They're really growing out in Canada. Their numbers are way up. They're not in danger anymore. So whenever we get these people out there to talk about global warming, they want to try to tell us that, all the real scientists in the world believe in it. Well, I don't care what so-called real scientists believe. What can they prove? Well, there's a consensus, Rod. There's a consensus. We have a consensus, Rod. The consensus is... No, science isn't based on consensus. Oh, okay. I could probably, come up with a theory and get a consensus that, gravity is actually... isn't what's doing the pulling on objects. It's not gravity. It's some unseen force. Giant magnets or something. I don't know. Not gravity. And if we have a consensus, if I can get a consensus, does that make that real science then? If I can convince a plethora of real scientists to believe that, maybe it's giant magnets out there that are holding everything together or holding people down on the planet, not gravity. And we get a consensus of all these. Does that make it true? Does that make it science? Well, no, of course not. We would never, ever do science by a consensus basis on any other kind of science. But all of a sudden, when it comes down to global warming, oh, yeah, well, we got a consensus on it. So now the consensus becomes science. I just don't know how we get to that point where we start throwing out real science for consensus. And somebody tell me how does that make any sense? And you now you have to understand. Oh yeah, well now they're talking about an ice age, a new ice age. 2030, 2050 or something like that. Yeah, we could be in for an ice age. Because now they're it's just like watching the Kung Fu Chop Suey movies. Now all of a sudden they're telling us, well, maybe you're right. Maybe there's global cooling. In fact, there's so much global cooling that, we could possibly be in for a mini ice age by 2030 or 2050 because the sun is going to go to sleep for a while. Wait a minute. I thought the sun had very little to do with our climate. Now you see, Rod, you just don't get real science. Real science is you make the algorithm fit your determination. You have to make your theory fit reality. So if your theorem is based on things heating up, then you have to come up with data that shows things are heating up. And we can do that. But since things really aren't heating up and people are starting to notice, Rod, well, now that means we have to come up with theories that show that we're going into an ice age. And now we're going to have to show the data. We're going to have to show data that shows that we're right. But wait, you said you were right about the Earth burning up. Al Gore told us in An Inconvenient Truth that the planet was going to burn up. Our crops were going to wither. Deserts were going to grow unchecked. Mankind was going to starve due to food shortages. We were going to have, massive droughts, and the oceans were going to rise, and put seacoast cities like New York and Hong Kong and Miami and London and other, great coastal cities underwater, kind of like, artificial intelligence, that movie, AI. Oh, yeah, it was all going to be underwater. And that we didn't have much time left. That we're going to have to take some drastic changes. We're going to have to make some drastic changes and have major sacrifices. Have to make major sacrifices in order to prevent global warming from destroying mankind. And that it was going to happen before the end of the second decade of this new century. That is what Al Gore told us in An Inconvenient Truth. And now we're told we're not going to burn up, but at around 2030 or 2050, when the sun goes to sleep, we're all going to be a bit cold. No, we're not going to die. It's not going to be an ice age. We're just going to be a little bit cold. Y'all must think I'm stupid. That's what everybody should be saying. They should be looking at these global warming idiots and just say, in good old-fashioned, colloquial, urban speak, y'all must think I stupid. Because they have nothing. There's no evidence. We've got all kinds of evidence to show that their theories didn't come to pass. That it's not happening. That the ocean levels are not rising, that they've actually fallen because of all the ice. That the Earth is not heating up, but it's actually been, staying stable or cooling over the past 21 years. You realize that 21 years is 2 decades plus 1? 2 decades plus 1. That would be 21. For those of you in Rush Limbaugh's Rio Linda, a decade is 10. Deca. Decade, 10 years, deca, 10, that kind of thing. That's a Greek thing. Speaking of Greece, Well, I guess they're going to get their bailout because they're kind of capitulating, even though the Greek population is. You know what? It's when you get a bunch of adults who've been pampered and taking care of like a bunch of kids, and then they're told, just like kids sometimes. Well, no, we can't give you any more money. We've already given you enough. We can't afford to give you more. They whine and complain and throw a temper tantrum, just like kids do. I want my allowance. Well, no, we can't. You got your allowance. Can't give you any more. I want more. No, can't give you any more. But I digress. That's Greece. Well, in to some degree, that's the United States. That's happening here with all of our entitlement programs. People thinking that they're owed this stuff. I am owed this money. Y'all owe me this money. Because y'all promised me this money and y'all owe it to me for the rest of my damn life. I'm going to have that money. Give me my money. Because it's my money, honey. It ain't your money anymore. Because you promised it to me. And you are going to give it to me. Because if you don't give me my money, hell's going to break loose around here, honey. And I'm telling you, that's exactly what happened in Greece. The government said, hey, we're really out of money. We don't have any more. We can't give you any. And people had a conniption. And so it's going to happen here too. And I know our government is trying to get us to not have any money as fast as possible, but it is going to happen. And there's going to be riots in the streets because, our government's going to say, well, we're kind of out of money now. We really can't get any more. We can't borrow anymore. We can't print anymore because we don't want to be Germany after World War I. But we don't want to be Greece either. But hey, you're going to have to fend for yourself now. And you're going to have people out there, oh, hell no, I ain't fending for myself. I don't know how to because y'all said you'd take care of me. And now I don't know how to take care of myself. Y'all promised to take care of me, and you should take care of me. Oh, honey, we're going to have a problem here. Telling you, don't doubt me on this, folks. Don't doubt me.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. Call InventHelp today.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-352-1609. That's 1-800-352-1609.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. The law requires car accident victims to assert claims promptly. You could lose out by simply waiting. Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. Woo! There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
From WND.com, our wonderful ageless actress Hanoi Jane, Jane Fonda is back in the news. Yeah, she's got a new TV show. I see it on. I haven't seen it, but it's on Netflix. I've seen it, on Netflix. I haven't watched it. Well, because she's starring in it. I'm not gonna promote Jane Fonda for various reasons. One, she's just a moonbat. Or two, that has nothing to do with Vietnam and her being dubbed Hanoi Jane. People make mistakes when they're young and they can overcome them, but this woman is she's a moonbat. And you can't get over that fact when you actually continue to listen to her and see what she does. Now, Jane Fonda attended a protest over the weekend against oil drilling in Vancouver, British Columbia. Vancouver, British Columbia. She protested. She participated. She attended a protest against oil drilling in Canada. Now, I love to say Canada, but it's really it's Canada. But I just like to say Canada because it's. Look, there are brothers from another mother up north. Hey, they were once a British colony too, just like the United States. So you could say there are brothers and sisters from another mother, whatever, from Canada. But she was up there in Canada, British Columbia. How did she get there, though? Now, that was the tough question that she faced on camera from a crew from The Rebel. I drove, she said. And did she fly to the car? Yes, she did. Folks, you can't make this stuff up. Did she fly to the car? Yes, she did. Asked if she saw the irony of protesting against oil drilling while using lots of jet fuel and gasoline to get there, she responded, I have an all-solar house I have since the 1970s. I have windmills and photovoltaic cells, and I have a Prius. But she didn't drive a Prius to the protest. And she flew in a private jet. I mean, God, folks, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, sometimes you just sit back and you have to laugh at these people. I know they think that they're serious as a heart attack, but they're funny. If they weren't so dangerous, they'd be absolutely hilarious. But even though they are dangerous, they're still funny. Now, the story goes on to say, well, indeed, while Fonda may indeed have one all-solar house, she has quite a collection of mansions around the country. She's got kind of like Al Gore, right? Remember when Al Gore is running around telling people that, the carbon footprint, and he's in this mansion with thousands of light bulbs and they're all on when he's not home. When he and the missus at the time were not home, everybody knew that they weren't home because he was off flying around talking about global warming in the Inconvenient Truth, Inconvenient Lie movie. So they weren't home, but their lights were on. Lights were on. Nobody was home. So somebody asked her the question, well, why don't you go to OPEC nations, she was asked. Right now I'm here. I don't exactly know what you mean by the question. Well, come on, Jane. You went to Hanoi, North Vietnam, when you were protesting the Vietnam War, did you not? You went to the source. Well, I mean, isn't OPEC really the center of the oil world? Don't they control the vast? OPEC controls the majority of oil reserves. Now, over the weekend, thousands of activists mobilized across Canada to engage in a number of direct actions calling for climate justice, jobs, and an end to tar sands mining. Now, understand that all this tar sands oil, as they call it, that's loaded with high-paying jobs. High-paying jobs. Now, these nut jobs are out there calling for climate justice jobs. They want jobs. Well, that's producing and creating jobs. They want climate justice. Well, getting that oil instead of shipping it from halfway around the world for us to use here in North America is more cost effective and more environmentally sound than shipping it from, halfway across the world. That seems to be an environmentally sound thing to do. It's creating jobs. It's actually saving the environment by using less energy to get it to market here in North America. But because it's all can't have all around here. This mobilization brought together a truly diverse coalition from frontline Indigenous communities to Canada's largest public and private sector unions. Students, what? Unions are against oil jobs? Indigenous communities? Are Canadian Indians, Canadian Native Americans, are they against oil? They might be. I don't know. They might not like the money that they're getting from oil. Just saying. It's possible they don't like the royalties. If the oil is coming from their lands, from their indigenous lands, they might not like the royalties that they're getting. In which case, then they should probably just give it back. But I don't see anybody giving back royalty money. Do you? Just saying. But I tell you, folks, these people are just funny. They are so dang funny. You can't. You know what? They should. Well, no, that would be an insult to Godzilla. There should be a kaiju movie that stars Jane Fonda and Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, they would be the kaiju or kaiji. They'd be the monsters, and Godzilla would be. Well, he'd be the hero because he'd have to kill the monsters, the bad monsters. Although I would tend to believe that Nancy Pelosi would be more of a space monster, and she would fly away back out into space. Well, she seems to have operate on very little oxygen, so it I'm just saying, it may be. Am I being mean? Am I being mean by saying that? I don't know. I don't. Well, whatever. She can go ahead and fly off into outer space, never to return, because we have Godzilla. And if she shrinks herself down, speaking of which, there's something else that I used to watch as a kid that I used to love, and I actually they have a couple of seasons of it on Hulu. Some of you may remember it, and some of you out there may wonder what the hell I'm talking about. But Ultraman, and I guess that there is a new Ultraman series or mini-series coming out. Now, I don't know if it's actually going to land here in the United States, but I think it's going to be in Japan where it's produced. I used to love Ultraman. Ultraman was cool. So again, Nancy Pelosi could be the monster in an Ultraman epic, and because an Ultraman can send Nancy back into outer space. I know. I watch some of the strangest things. Look, I even like cartoons. One of my favorite cartoons to watch today is the Ben 10 series. Netflix and Hulu has them. I love watching the Ben 10 stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. My mother used to watch cartoons with me. She used to watch, one of her favorites used to be from the 80s, Thundar the Barbarian. My mother loved that. I thought it was okay, but my mother, she wanted to watch Thundar. If we were watching cartoons, when it came time for Thundar to come on, it was my mother's turn to watch cartoon. It was Thundar the Barbarian. That's how much she used to like it. It used to come on after Herculoids, because I used to love Herculoids. So it went from Herculoids to Thundar. I watched Herculoids, and my mother thought it was like, well, that's okay, but Thundar the Barbarian is much better. And she also liked He-Man. I never really got into He-Man and Skeletor and all that kind of stuff. He-Man! But my mother loved it. So there's nothing wrong with an adult loving liking a kid's cartoon. I happen to like Ben 10. There's not a lot of modern cartoons, if you will, that I tend to like, because most of them I think are just awful. But I do happen to like Ben 10. I think it's kind of that's a good, and there's a number of different Ben 10 Omniverse, Universe, whatever series, but I haven't watched them all, so don't spoil anything for me on Ben 10. I happen to hey, you should watch Ben 10 sometimes if you think I'm crazy. Here's politics1.com, the presidency and who's running in 2016. And I'm bringing this up because of Mark Everson that I shared the stage with yesterday in Keene, New Hampshire. I didn't know who he was. But he's a legit candidate for president in GOP. Politics1.com, Democratic Party, it's listing Joe Biden. He hasn't announced yet. I think he's still thinking about it. But you have former Rhode Island Governor Lincoln Chafee, former Senator, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton from New York, via Arkansas, what is she, Illinois originally from? Former Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley, current U.S. Senator from Vermont Bernie Sanders, the old curmudgeon, and former U.S. Senator out of Virginia Jim Webb. Those are all the Democratic candidates. Now, as you go down to the Republicans, I think they might be missing a couple who just got in, but you have former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, Dr. Ben Carson from Florida, current Governor, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, current U.S. Senator from Texas Ted Cruz, former Maryland Governor Bob Ehrlich, former IRS Commissioner Mark Everson from Mississippi. I said Louisiana earlier, so he's from Mississippi. I apologize. The breaking the glass ceiling businesswoman from Virginia, Carly Fiorina. Former Virginia Governor Jim Gilmore. Current U.S. Senator from South Carolina, Lindsey Graham. Former Arkansas Governor, now from Florida, Mike Huckabee. Current Louisiana Governor, Bobby Jindal. Current Ohio Governor, John Kasich. Former New York Governor, George Pataki. Current U.S. Senator, Rand Paul from Kentucky. Former Texas Governor, Rick Perry. Current U.S. Senator from Florida, Marco Rubio. Former U.S. Senator from Pennsylvania, Rick Santorum. Current mega billionaire from New York, Donald Trump, businessman. And current governor from Wisconsin, Scott Walker. I guess there's a few other possible candidates that they've got a whole list of other Republicans that could probably jump in. I don't believe most of them will jump in, but that's a long list of Republicans. And I hate to. I should probably wait until the first debates. But before the debates go, I'm gonna just go out there on a limb. I'm gonna say chance or no chance. And you're free to disagree with me, but I'm obviously going to be basing it on how much we've heard from them so far and pure name recognition. That's it. It has nothing to do with their policy because, quite frankly, for most of them, we don't know what their policies are yet because we haven't really heard them. But just basing it on name recognition and plausibility, chance or no chance. From what we know of them right now. Jeb Bush, chance. Ben Carson, I'm going to say no chance. Chris Christie, I hate to say it, but chance. Ted Cruz, chance. Governor Bob Ehrlich, no chance. Former IRS Commissioner Mark Everson, no chance. Carly Fiorina. Now, this is a complicated one because she's making some strides. However, I'm going to go out on a limb and say at this early juncture, and it could change after the debates, and I think she'll make the debates. I think her numbers are put her in the top 10, right? I'm going to say no chance. Not because she's not qualified. I don't really know yet, but I don't, she's probably a really good businesswoman, but I don't think name recognition is there. No chance. Jim Gilmore, no chance. Lindsey Graham, no chance. Mike Huckabee, no chance. Bobby Jindal, no chance. John Kasich, I'm going to say, he's got a chance. Not much of one. It's going to depend on if he can get into debates or not. George Pataki, chance. Rand Paul, no chance. Rick Perry, chance. Marco Rubio, chance. Rick Santorum, no chance. Donald Trump, chance. Scott Walker, chance. So there you go. That's my pre-chance, no chance list. Now, after we have a debate or two, obviously that could change. But I'm just basing it on name recognition, what people know of them, what we know of them so far, the type of coverage that they're each getting, and some of them are not getting any coverage whatsoever. So if you're not getting coverage, you really don't have a chance. Nobody's going to be able to hear you and know what you're all about. That's just the reality of it. I hate to say it, but it is. That really is just the reality of politics. You got to get all of these, every single one of them. Well, with the exception of maybe Trump. Every single one of them needs to know how to market themselves better, especially with social media. They need to take a cue from Obama and the Democrats on this one. I'm serious. Trump is about the only serious marketing and branding expert in the bunch. He knows exactly what he's doing. And you may not agree with him all the way, but let me tell you something. He is constantly, no matter what, keeping his name, his image, his brand at the top of the list on everybody's tongue. You cannot say that you're forgetting about Donald Trump. You're not. And the rest of the Republican field really needs to take notes from the Donald on this if they want to have a chance. Now, being slick and polished, that's not going to be enough anymore. It's really, look, we had a slick and polished person that deceived us twice. I don't think that Americans are looking for all slick and polish and no substance anymore. I might be wrong on that, but I would like to think that they're not. Lastly, tonight we have something from Whole Foods. And if you want to see the list, it's over on rodeccles.net. Not the list, but the link to the list is Politics 1, number 1, politicsnumber1.com. And you'll get the link over there on rodeccles.net. Whole Foods seems to be in a little bit of a conundrum quandary here. Whole Foods, it seems, and this is from alternate.org, it's a favorite grocery store of the liberal side, even though the CEO, whose net worth exceeds $100 million, is a self-described libertarian. And he believes that the solution to all the world's problems is letting corporations basically run amok. No regulation whatsoever, or so little regulation it really means nothing. Kind of like, before, when the Industrial Revolution was just happening. But Whole Foods exploits prison labor for groceries while ripping you off, so says this story. While Whole Foods CEO John McKay, whose net worth exceeds $100 million, is a fervent proselytizer on behalf of conscious capitalism, a self-described libertarian, McKay believes that the solution to all of the world's problems is letting corporations run amok without regulation. He believes this so fervently, in fact, that he wrote an entire book extolling the magnanimous virtue of the free market. I, too, agree with the free market to an extent. Now, at the same time, while preaching the supposedly beneficial gospel of the conscious capitalism, McKay's company Whole Foods, which has a $13 billion and growing annual revenue, sells overpriced fish, milk, and gourmet cheese cultivated by inmates in U.S. prisons. Now, the renowned green capitalist organic supermarket chain pays what are effectively indentured servants in the Colorado prison system a mere $1.50 per hour to farm organic tilapia, which I keep seeing all over Facebook. You shouldn't be eating tilapia because it's bad for you. It's actually poisonous for you or to you. Colorado prisons already grow 1.2 million pounds of tilapia per year, and government officials and their corporate companions are chomping at the bit to expand production. So I didn't know that Whole Foods was getting their organic tilapia from prison labor out in Colorado. But that's not all. Whole Foods also buys artisanal cheeses and milk cultivated by prisoners. The prison corporation Colorado Correctional Industries has created what Fortune describes as a burgeoning $65 million business that employs 2,000 convicts at 17 facilities. Colorado Correctional Industries. Isn't Obama trying to let people out of jail? So that would kind of, take all that free labor away, right? Now, the base pay of these prison workers is just 60 cents per day. Whole Foods purchases cheeses from these prisons, which literally pay prison laborers mere pennies an hour, and subsequently marks up the price drastically. Now, I thought it would be because it cost more to get, but evidently not. So Whole Foods Whole Paycheck is in trouble yet again with overpricing stuff. Well, folks, we have come to the end of another fantastical show, and it's fantastical because I said so. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm Rod Eccles. This has been the Rod Eccles Show. We'll be back here tomorrow. Until then, I'm out.
The leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.